However, there was no war in 1798 or in 1799. Washington's life resumed its normal tempo. The months wheel by in the jog-trot entries of his diary: hot days, cool days, rain, snow, surveying, writing, visitors, dinners, a baby daughter born to his niece, Betty Lewis. Then George Washington's diary stops on December 13th. 1799. December 13th, 1799. He's going to die the next day. The note on in the diary says that the thermometer has dropped to a slight frost. Then indeed the curtain comes down with a rush. Washington has caught a chill. Then he gets a sore throat. Then the doctors bleed him. And bleed him again to no avail. They bleed him twice. At 10 in the evening of December 14th, George Washington is dead without a memorable final utterance in pain. A sacrifice to the well-meaning but barbarous medical treatment of his day. With less primitive care, he could have survived a few more years. He could have witnessed the removal of the federal government to Federal City, christened Washington, D.C., which would have pleased him, or the inauguration of Thomas Jefferson in 1801 following a Republican victory that would not have pleased him. He could have read the Louisiana Purchase, would have heard about Hamilton's death in a duel, medley of bright news and dark news. But would he have wanted much more? His century was over and he was with it. Spencer's quiet lines fit his end better than many of these sonorous phrases that orators and scribes were soon declaiming throughout the enormous ramshackle thriving Union. Sleep after toil, port after stormy seas, ease after war, death after life does greatly please. So I had no idea. I had no idea that they bled him twice. They bled him twice. God damn, he's the fucking president. That's the best we knew in 1799. We knew the three branches of government. We knew Montesquieu. We knew the Bills of Rights, right? The English Bills of Rights. We knew the Constitution, a republic. We knew all this stuff. But what? George Washington caught a sniffle, and it was the common cold. So he caught COVID, the flu. Just not pneumonia, but just the common cold. Well, we gotta bleed you. I just have a sniffle. Yep. Give me that artery. They bled him twice, and then I heard he got blistered too. 40% of his blood is going to get taken out of his body. Then they're going to make him gargle molasses, vinegar, and butter. Just gargle this. That'll help. With what? All the blood that's gone. So his blood, you need blood in your body. You need blood in your body. Well, we'll just get rid of the bad blood and then put in the good blood and then put in the bad blood and put the good blood in and put the bad blood in. That's how the nutrients get distributed throughout your body. You eat, goes to your stomach, the blood distributes those nutrients all over your body. You need your blood. You need to keep your blood inside your body. So the fucking doctors killed him. He could have caught a cold, and yeah, if he had a primitive, if he just slept it off, just drank water, and here's soup, water, and sleep. That's the only fucking thing you need. No, keep all the doctors away. If I was his friend, or his advisor, his aide de camp, I would tell him, no fucking doctors. That would be my advice. Maybe you want, a second opinion. That's fine. But old-fashioned home remedies, sleep, water, soup, oxygen, good fresh air. Make sure you exercise. Meditate. I wonder if it was the Freemasons or the Jesuits that got him. Because that sounds like he was poisoned. That sounds like the doctors was in on the fucking thing. That sounds like it was a coup d'etat. All right, George Washington, that's enough out of you. We need to give John Adams a chance. Here, just gargle this molasses, vinegar, and butter concoction. Is this freckle juice? No, it's, I call it dog shit cocktail. It's a dog shit cocktail. You mean like nihilism and sadism? Exactly. Like nihilism and sadism. I'm so glad we know each other so well. Me too. Oh, little town. There's an active shooter and Blanca's been contained. Apparently that Molly Heaney is going to be out of the job for a while. Shattered her femur. They put a bar in her leg. There's that fire that happened in Lahara. $400,000. Did they say $400,000? God damn, that's a lot of fucking money. $400,000 fire. He probably has insurance, right? So it's going to come from the insurance company. Does the insurance have that fucking much money? I wonder if it was one of the abolitionists or one of his runaway slaves. When it was Ona Judd. Just go ahead and bloodlet him. Yeah, drain his blood. No, drain that goddamn Kanad Tak Karras, that genocidal fucking slave-owning son of a bitch. Just drain his blood. Yep, drain that blood. So I have this PBS article here I was going to read. I got some notes. Read the notes and then go to the article. Or actually, do back and forth. Go back and forth. So, Commander-in-Chief woke up at 2 a.m. on December 14th, 1799 with a sore throat. Then, after a series of medical procedures, including the draining of nearly 40% of his blood, he died that evening. Guys, I just have a sore throat. I've been smoking a lot of weed. I have a sniffle. I just need to sleep. No, we need to do this and that and that and this and this and that and that and this and that and this and that and that and this. And maybe some more of that and this and that and that. George Washington's final hours, medical mystery. Jeffrey Brown. In December of 1799, George Washington was about 2.5 years into his retirement. Was very actively managing his estate in Mount Vernon, Virginia. In the early morning hours of the 13th, following a day on horseback in freezing rain and snow, he woke up with pain and shortness of breath. By 10 o'clock that night, he was dead. We know a lot about what happened in those hours from an account written by George Washington's chief aide, from notes by his doctors, and from later detective work by medical researchers. Dr. Howard Markle, But when he woke up at 2 in the morning, he simply couldn't breathe. His throat was so inflamed he couldn't get air in. And of course, Martha, his wife, was very concerned, and so she sent out for his aide-de-camp, Colonel Tobias Lear, who was then sent out for some doctors and a blood letter. Quick, get my blood letter. My throat is... So is it way? Could he have already been dead and they're doing all this stuff? Because bloodletting is the chief kind of treatment, right? Describe a number of doctors, what they do. So Dr. Howard Markle. Well, it's a major modality. Well, it was a major modality. Back then, humoral physiology was the key to medicine. There were 4 body humors: black bile, yellow bile, phlegm, and blood. And when you had an inflammation and his throat was so inflamed he couldn't get air through it, they thought that if you removed blood, then you'd reduce the inflammation. So all told, his doctors took out about 80 ounces of blood over 12 hours, which is about 40% of an adult blood volume. 40%? You think that might have made it worse? Well, it didn't help him. You know, other treatments they gave him during that period were enemas and drugs to make him vomit, and something called blisters, where they applied Spanish fly onto his throat, which raises a painful blister, again to remove these terrible humors that are caution the inflammation. What? Spanish fly. Quick, get the blood letters and make sure he brings the Spanish fly. I thought Spanish fly was like a Mickey. Natural aphrodisiac or empty promise. Spanish fly is a aposematic emerald green beetle in the blister beetle family. It's distributed across Eurasia. What the hell is a Spanish fly? What? Get the Spanish fly. Get my blood letter. Get my blood letter. And get my Spanish fly. Thank you. But if the disease itself didn't get George Washington, the doctor certainly did. What did kill him? This has been argued about since 2 minutes after he died. The doctors love to argue about what the greats of the past history have died of. The greats. Well, it's a great argument because you can never really prove it, so the argument goes on and on and on. But there's been many different diagnoses, including Pereton's Siller, abscesses and pneumonia, even epiglottis, an infection of the epiglottis at the back of the throat from a bacterium so severe that it basically strangles you. Interesting. What do you compare it to? Well, regardless to the cause of this blockage of the back of his throat, viral bacteria. So I compared it to a couple things. I was actually I think his doctors killed him. His doctors fucking killed him. With all this dumb shit. Yeah, I don't know the extent of his, I guess, sore throat. When I think of a sore throat, right, you just take some lozenges. How come he didn't take some lozenges? Quick, gargle vinegar. Did that work? Okay, here's some butter. Gargle it. How about some molasses? Just mix it in a cocktail, will you? Garfield was killed by doctors too, so George Washington wasn't the only president killed by doctors. You had Zachary Taylor, who died by eating poisoned cherries, maybe. But goddamn, Garfield was so resigned, he wasn't going to rage against the dying of the light. He said, my work is done. And his last words, fucking James Garfield. And I like James Garfield. He was a Union man. But my work is done. Oh, Swain. That's his last word was, oh, Swain. Just a guy named Swain who was around. Oh, Swain. So that's the end, huh? That was the end. Not exactly going home, right? I thought the death song of Tecumseh is that you're going home. He did not like the end at all. McKinley was shot by Leon the anarchist, but when Garfield got shot by Guiteau just shot him twice. One shot glanced off his arm, so really, Guiteau just shot him once. Once in the back, so what a fucking coward, the stalwart of stalwarts. Then they were all pissed off at Arthur. Chester A. Arthur. He was a terrible vice president, talking a bunch of shit about his president. So he fanned the flames of, his shit talking. And look, now you got Guiteau fucking shooting the president in the back. But the point of that shot is that he didn't shoot like a liver. He didn't shoot a fucking kidney. He didn't shoot a stomach. He didn't shoot a colon. He got shot in the back and it shattered a rib. And then it just got lodged in his belly fat or, around his genital fat somewhere. So it was just sitting in his body somewhere. So the main thing it did, it went in his back, shattered a rib, and then it's just sitting there. You can live through that. Lead poisoning, you want to get it out eventually, but you can live through that. He's going to die, pretty quick. When he got shot, he goes, my God, what is this? That's what James Garfield said. He was a Union man. He was a general in the Civil War. So Joseph Lister's antiseptic work was known during Garfield's time. But what they did with Garfield is you had all these doctors. Willard Bliss was the main doctor. He was sitting there probing the wound with an unsterilized finger and instruments, just probing the wound. Well, that's an interesting wound there. Garfield, nice wound you got there, James Garfield. Want some salt? Here, pour some salt on that finger. There, now go ahead and probe it with the knife. There you go. They gave him morphine for the pain. Okay, the doctor says you got 1 out of 100 chance of living. Okay, thanks, Willard Bliss. Thanks for nothing. Doctors are such fucking prima donnas. They're such negative Nancy's. They're such goddamn chicken littles. Well, just tell to me straight, Doc. Do I have a chance of living? I'd say 1 in a million. So you're telling me there's a chance. All right, Doc, just do whatever the hell you want. Do whatever the hell you want. Oh, Swain. Oh, Swain. No, Swain, my work is done. What do you mean your work is done? You're letting go? You're quitting? In the middle, he's fucking... This is a terrible ending for James Garfield. This is unbefitting of a president. When he's sitting there dying, they have Sitting Bull apparently is a prisoner. Sitting Bull's a prisoner, and they said, he's starving. And then he was like, let him starve. And then he had some crap porridge, and he was like, on second thought, give him my porridge. But that's your final proclamation. You're about to die, and he's like, let Sitting Bull die. Let him starve to death. That makes me love Sitting Bull that much more. He really got under your craw, didn't he there, Garfield? Guiteau shot you. Why are you mad at Sitting Bull? Guiteau was the one that shot you. Rage against the dying of the light, Mr. President. Mr. President, rage against the dying of the light. So JFK's doctor, there's some shit about JFK's doctor, something about the skull. They put the skull, but that was like his head was blown off. He was already dead. Robert Todd Lincoln was a connection between Lincoln's assassination and Garfield. Lincoln got shot. I think Robert Todd was right there, and then Garfield got shot. He was right there. So Robert Todd Lincoln was there at 2 presidential shooting assassinations. Now, Guto is going to say, at his defense, he didn't actually kill the president. It was the doctors. And he'd be correct. Just like the doctors killed George Washington. I think his throat was infected. Do something else. Put ice on it. And if you were able to go get the doctor and he was able to come back, like, did he already die? Was he already dead? Because to say, okay, we got a blister, bloodletting, 40%, we got to chop off his foot. What the fuck are you talking about here? Gargle this. What is this? Bunch of... It's apple cider, and it's delicious. December 14th. George Washington died December 14th, 1799. Can you believe that? And they bloodletted him. He was the president. So you would think that the best medicine, the best doctors, and the best medicine that's available during that day and age would be available to him. You would think. But no, he didn't believe in universal health care, and that was the point of this whole video. We need to get universal health care. America, Jared Polis, you promised me universal health care for Colorado. I don't see it.